British Columbia this afternoon at the office of Dr. Marcy Swartzman, one of my favorite Crown Council members and one of my favorite dentists. So you're about to experience a great office and a great team. So let's go in and take a look.
So because this is an urban location and we don't have the luxury of a lot of space, when we started the office I had no patients, and so 1,100 square feet was
a lot
when you have 3 patients in the filing cabinet.
Wow.
So it's a very compact kind of space. We did a renovation about 8 years ago, and to make it flow a little bit better, but we have a very small multifunctional office, locker room, and down the hall. Then we divide out into 4 operatories, so 2 hygiene ones and 2 operative ones is more or less how it runs around. And because we have a small space, we've been very good at doing overlapping shifts. So on several days we run 8 to 8.
Okay.
And so we'll have an early shift and a late shift come in, and so we have maximized as much of the time that we have to be able to serve our patients as best we can. But if there's one thing, is that we certainly could use more space, but then the trade is the convenience of the location overlapping with the benefit of this particular space. So that's been one of the big challenges, and it's the thing that we've been most creative on. How do we best service our patients that we really want to look after, because we unfortunately we're booked fairly. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good that we're booked. It's hard when people call in and that we aren't able to see them as quickly as we'd like to.
All right, so you got total team members, how many?
Including part-time people, probably about 16, 17 people.
17 people.
17 people.
And 1,100 square feet, but they're not all here at the same time.
They're not all here at the same time. So we have 3 doctors that work various different shifts, and the 3 administrative team that you saw, actually there's one part-time person, an administrative team, allows us to be open Monday through Saturday and 3 days from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
That's great. So do the team members rotate doctors, or does each doctor have their own team? The hygienists are whoever's there that day. Each of the doctors has an assistant that they work with primarily, although I'm using 2 of the assistants' office. All right, so with that many people, how do you guys organize and do your team meetings? Because you are very disciplined about training and meeting and keeping everybody on the same page. So
once a month, Tuesday morning, which is the day when there's not an overlapping shift, we have for 3 hours a team meeting that happens on Tuesdays.
Every Tuesday?
Once a month.
Once a month for 3 hours?
Once a month for 3 hours.
And everybody's here?
And everybody tries to be here. Some of the people that are the one-day part-timers aren't available, but even if it's not a day for people to work, they still come in, because that's as much mandatory as we can make it, because it really helps to keep everyone being on the same page.
So give us a typical 3-hour team meeting agenda for you guys.
It depends on what we're working on at the moment. In the last probably 4 or 5 months, we had the amazing Pat Worcester here that was working with our hygiene team, and so we've really made some changes to our hygiene program, and that's created a lot of ability for us to have to work through some of that stuff to really make sure we're implementing it as effectively as we would like to. So we've been working through that. But generally we'll have, often we'll use one of the team meeting, powerful team meeting ideas that are off the Crown Council website as a topic that we will watch the video, have an opportunity to discuss something for the first hour. The next 2 hours we'll work through some of our goals and some of the materials that we have that we've been working on, depending on what time of the year it is.
So 25 years. If over those 25 years
you obviously had a vision and a goal of what kind of practice you wanted to have and what you wanted your patients to say about you and the practice. So now, 25 years into it, what is it that you have built your practice to be, and what is it that you expect your patients to say about you, your team, and your practice?
I think what we really built it is based on the relationship that we have with the patients and the time that we spend with them. Whether, sometimes we just sit down to hear their story, which could be about what's going on in their families. It's being there for them that I think is what makes us that little bit different than somewhere else, and to really take the time to appreciate them as a person and recognize that. And so I think when I look at the information that people have written about our office unsolicited on things like Yelp and that kind of stuff, is that that's what people are saying when we're not asking them for a review, and what they're writing on their own without being asked. So I'm pleased to see that what patients are writing is that we care, and that we're here to provide them the best service that we can in the most comfortable way that we can do that.
In fact, we even solicited a spontaneous patient comment from one of your 10-year-old patients before we started this, which we'll include in this, but it's very typical, I think, of what the old and the young alike say about your team and your practice and you. So it's you are a model of how to do it right. So congratulations on the great use of space. In fact, one other thing I'll point out is not only do you have lots of outside view from the windows, but you have also done a great job of use of mirrors. See, there's Steve in the mirror, of making the space look a lot bigger than it actually is.
That actually is a very big concrete column that we didn't have any choice but to take advantage of, because it's holding up the ceiling and the floor.
Can't take it out.
No, it wasn't. It had. So we maximized the space by taking, mirror it up, and we actually have, because of how cost the rent was, there is not an in-office restroom facility, but we do have a little sink around the corner and a sort of a patient comfort kind of area that if they wanted to brush their teeth, so that take advantage of that space over there.
Got it. You thought of everything. You managed to fit just about everything in here.
Yeah, so almost. We'd be probably happy with an extra chair.
Yeah, you could use it. Well, the patio.
We've considered that, although we've had a lot of requests for a hot tub.
There you go. That would be good too.
A hot tub with a view.
So to wrap up, from a mentor standpoint, if you were to summarize your experience and share with a younger dentist or older dentist or any dentist alike, the biggest thing that you've learned that you wish you'd have known 25 years ago that would have helped you sooner, what would you say?
I would say it's that moment when you put a 10 on your forehead. And the first time that we were down in Texas at the first boot camp that I was at, and you, Steve, and Walter Haley went through that process, and at that moment I had written a 7 and put it up on my forehead. And that was a real pivotal moment for me, that I'm a 10, and I think like a 10, and I walk like a 10, and I learned to get over my approval addiction. I'm still challenged with that sometimes.
As we all are, yeah.
I have, that's my personal area where I have to keep working on, but that was a moment that made a big difference for me, because we all leave dental school with some scars most of the time, and that ability to not maybe doubt that you are at that level that you want, and you can go to as much CE and extra training on our skills, but until you're able to put that 10 on your forehead and know that you have that confidence and the ability to help people, that probably I think would be the one thing that I make sure people always take away, and I'm talking to people, is that I'm a 10 and I got to start every day that way.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for being our practice of the month and being a great example of how to do it right. All right, so this is Georgia. How are you, Georgia?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So tell us how long you've been coming to Dr. Marcy Swartzman's office.
I've been coming here since I was 3.
Wow. And you're now
10.
10, so you're coming here 7 years. And what do you like the most about the dentist?
I chipped my teeth and I've gone to the dentist many times and it's never hurt.
Never hurt. That's great. All right. So what are you going to do when you grow up, Georgia?
I want to have good teeth.
Yes. That would be a good thing to have good teeth. That's great. That would be it. All right. So what would you tell all the other 10-year-olds out there about going to the dentist?
It's pain-free and it's amazing and they have really good flavors of fluoride here.
Excellent. That's great. All right. Thank you, Georgia.
Okay.
That